Hello, Wild Hearts, and welcome back to Alchemy with Sheeana Leigh. And today I am in the luscious, delicious, hot and spicy pie, which is in Northern Thailand. And I started my travels last week, which meant that the Alchemy podcast had a little bit of a breather for a week while I traveled around and got nestled in the jungle. I have the jungle surrounding me currently. I'm in my cabin. I'm at my dear friend Luna and Trissa's house, and I'm going to keep this podcast episode really short and sweet because my Wi-Fi isn't great where I am currently at. But I wanted to drop in and talk about the unfolding of a few things that are happening for me currently. I'm in a little bit of a sacred pause with my work, only working with one client currently, and really giving myself spaciousness to just be on the land and drop in and immerse myself into like this feral frequency before I head on over to Greece and run the Oracle immersion. And this is a collaborative immersion. We've spoken about this on the podcast a few times with the beautiful Hannah. We are so elated to drop into this. And I really am just in awe about how I get to run my first international immersion and how far I've come in my work. And, little old me from little old Mackay in Queensland is running international retreats and is basically living an abundant, joyful, pleasurable, delicious life. I get to travel where I want, go where I want, do what I want. And I'm really abundant and fruitful. And I'm just taking stock of this right now because my whole life could have been completely different. It could have turned out very treacherous. I could have gone down very many different pathways and ended up very disheveled and in lifestyles that I do not wish for myself or for really anyone. I'm reflecting a lot on this as the eclipse portal is actually opening up because lo and behold, that amazing abusive ex reached out to me, unblocked me and reached out to me and tried to connect with me. And it's been a very illuminating, enlightening time because I can see where his life and his lifestyle is going and where his actions and choices are taking him, which I have said no to and jumped off that circus ride. And it's interesting because reflecting back to me, this person also is very much in a season of like, you've changed, you're not who you used to be. And I've had the pleasure of sitting with the fact that people don't always change. Who we are at the root and core is fundamentally who we are at a very soul essence level. Yes. But I do believe that we do grow and change given our circumstances, environments, and this, that, and the other. What I think affects people most is when people's access to the premium version of you gets denied. They are no longer in your close, inner, intimate circle. The softness has eroded for them through the very real actions that those people have taken, and your boundaries become stronger, your discernment comes stronger, and you hold yourself more valuable. You actually protect yourself, and not in a guarded, armored way, but you can actually see, and this is what I think is really interesting because I feel like women are embodying this archetype a lot more. This archetype of the oracle, the seer, the intuitive knower, the priestess, the goddess. All of these like medicine women archetypes are currently being shaken up in our blood and our bones. And we're no longer playing silly rescue me maiden archetypes. And it's really interesting, this like darker texture of the feminine that is kind of actually coming up through the earth and that I feel that we're all grasping onto. There is, I wouldn't say grasping, but we're embodying and feeling actually. Because there is a lot of real feminine rage, anger, grief. There's a lot of feminine elements that have been shunned and closed down and repressed for so long, and women have had enough. And it's quite interesting because I started this podcast with Good Girl on Fire. Like, that was the ominous omen of alchemy. And what does it mean to be an alchemical woman? An alchemistress, if you will, which I'm taking that on because I love using words and being a bit of a wordsmith and weaving it with my woman. But that's beside the point. I find it so funny that I started this podcast with I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I needed a voice. I wanted to share. I wanted to share about sexuality, sensuality, like all of these textures and tones that are quite taboo in social media. And I constantly was silenced for. I wanted freedom of voice, freedom of my tone and my throat. And it's so interesting to me because this is what we're seeing. We're seeing an uproar and an opening of women's throats. Woo! Dropped my frangipani that was in my hair. We're seeing it on a global collective scale. And I feel that this is actually allowing a lot of masks to fall because they can no longer be upheld because we're not in fawn and freeze and actually enabling these paradigms to persist. So a lot of the projection that we are seeing is actually being filtered through our system, and we can feel it as not truth. Now, what is interesting is my last podcast about projection and relating got so many people respond to me. You can probably hear all the Thailand dogs in the background. I got so many comments, replies, DMs. It's really resonant within the energetic field at the moment. And I too am just moving this through my system and metabolizing it. And I haven't quite fully grasped what is happening on a very energetic, emotional, spiritual layer. I can't quite understand and see and know what it is yet because it's still metabolizing in my system. And it's interesting because a lot of women are feeling the same thing. They're like, something's going on here collectively. Don't know what it is yet, but I'm seeing this. I'm feeling this. A lot of projections, a lot of like mismatched stories and narratives and not grasping on reality. And I truly am starting to think that this could be because of the feminine consciousness and energy and collective that's moving through us is a lot more fiery, a lot more dark, a lot more reclamation energy, a lot of grief, heartbreak, rage tumbling through. And people don't know how to relate to that yet. People are scared still of emotions, feminine range, feminine emotions. And so there is this like timid little archetype that's playing against this empowered feminine aspect. Now, I don't want to go too far into that as we speak, but what I'm also feeling and seeing with this like feminine rising, this feminine power that is being returned to us is the fact that people are scared. And I'm seeing this reflected back to me, like people don't know how to actually relate to me anymore. Incoming ex-partner straight into the field to show me and to tell me and to reflect back to me, you've changed. You are not the same person I thought you were. You've this, right? And I find it so funny because quintessentially I haven't changed. Premium, emotionally intelligent, delicious, loyal, ride or die Sheeana is still here. Like, oh, she is yum. And she is only reserved for those who deserve access to her now. And I feel like this is a collective thing that is moving through us. Not everybody deserves our fun. Not everybody deserves our softness, our pleasure, our emotions, our truth, our rawness. Not everybody deserves to be around us. Full stop. End of story. And I think that this is really being dropped into our bodies currently. We are sacred beings. We are to be honored. We are to be treasured. We are to be revered. We are we're claiming this for not only ourselves, but we're understanding that in relationship to us, we are worthy and deserving of that too. That is a rite of passage that we have not been initiated into in our womanhood. And because we're figuring this out now, it can look a bit clunky. But also, I feel that people are not sure how to handle us, how to talk to us, how to relate to us. The people who were granted access and abused that, abused our magic, our medicine, our power, our energy, siphoned our energy, used us and abused us, do not get access anymore. And they don't know what to do with that because they have spent their whole life, and the entire collective that we're seeing in society, the systems that be, are actually set up for them, right? Call it what you wish. I am going to, for this experience, and we're going to talk about like narcissistic tendencies, right? We live in a very narcissistic society. Everything is very based on what you can grasp and how you're perceived, and ego filling voids. And I'm not saying that we're not living in a very wounded society. We are. We're living in a very sick, wounded society. But it's actually set up for them. And now that the energy is shifting and we're moving into a place and space where it is actually not set up for them, and we're reclaiming our energy back, our power back, it is becoming crazy out here. And the mirrors are mirroring, and the traumas are traumaing, the wounds are being activated. And people are like, oh my gosh, because they believe that they actually have access to your energy, to your power, to your womb, to your sexuality, to your sensuality. It has been siphoned off us for so long and sold back to us for so long that they truly believe that they have rights and access to it no matter what. And when the gates are closed, and when you start to really truly grasp that you deserve kindness, pleasure, love, intimacy, depth. You are not too much. You are, you're not too sensitive. You have done a deep inner work. And then you go, actually, I don't need to be nice to everyone. Not everybody deserves my niceness. Not everybody deserves, I will come across as cold. I will come across as a bitch. And I will absolutely be the villain in your story if that is what you need, and you release it. And people are shocked when you truly are not grasping onto their projections and story and trying to twist it and trying to maintain some sense of, I give a fuck about how you perceive me and I care about you misunderstanding me. And when you let go of that, people don't know what to do, because that is a thread of control so many people, institutions and systems have relied on to keep you cycling constantly and losing your own power and energy and giving it away freely, right? We can't play victims fully to this paradigm and to these stories, because absolutely we have enabled it. We didn't know any better at the time, but we have enabled it. We've fallen into these aspects and archetypes and energetics that have served it up on a platter to them, not realizing, right? We are so hungry to be loved, to be chosen, to be this feeling of like wholeness that we somehow, there's this ache. And once you start to tend to that enough and heal that enough and come into your own eternal wholeness and love as a woman, and then the next step further, right? Because I feel like on the spiritual path, the energetic path of, alchemy and womb wisdom and woman wisdom, you tend to then go, wow, I have all of this love to give. Like I can give it all. I'm a nurturer. And you go above and beyond and you leave yourself depleted. And you end up in these self-abandoning relationships. And then it's like another tier and another level where you actually retract, you take stock and you go, hang on a second, what am I doing here? And you take it all back and you go, I don't have to be this. Not everybody deserves my oracle nature. Not everybody deserves my mystical tendencies, my medicine woman, my, and it goes deeper than that. Not everybody deserves your, yeah, your just you as a woman. Like, it doesn't even matter if you identify or relate to yourself as somebody who is a seer, an oracle, an alchemical woman, like somebody here and now as a woman. Not everybody deserves access to your woman, to your womb, to your pussy. And then when you start to retract your energy from emotionally holding and coddling a lot of people in your life, because you know and you can see and you know the patterns, people freak out. People freak out in their reality because they don't know how they are masturbating themselves through you, through your reflection and projection of how you view them and see them. And if you stop doing that, or if your perception changes and you're like, I no longer participate to this dynamic. I see it for what it is. I'm pulling back now. I'm not going to soothe your wounds by emotionally holding everything, the relationship included. And I'm going to let you just see yourself, and you don't even have to do anything or say anything, because that is jarring to the system. And I think we're seeing a huge collapse of this currently in our whole society, in our system, in our evolution of the world. And it is gnarly. I'm not going to lie. It's so absolutely crazy to witness. And I know I had to be here at this point in time for this eclipse portal, surrounded by the jungle, on the land, totally resting and being in my blissful, like sweaty skin and rolling around in my pleasure, to witness these collapsing in dynamics, not just my own personal dynamics, but on a larger scale, what's going on collectively, and hold the energy here. I mentioned in my stories a couple of weeks ago quite a bit about feminine energetics. And I wanted to share that here with you because I think it's quite prevalent to what we're moving through and how we are as women. I was going to look at it on my phone, but I'm just going to remember it in my body. I don't need to see it and read it because it's truth, okay? We as women are oracular women. It is part of our biology. It's deeply in our DNA. We are energetic, sensitive, womb-bearing, holding women. We are connected to the tether of the other side, of the unseen, the mystical realms, because of our womb. We have powers beyond what they have told us, right? And I have been studying this deeply, delving into my womb and starting to learn how to release DMT in my system, to have these like psychedelic experiences where I can actually transmute a lot of things alchemically in my body. Yes, one of these things being the highly abusive, toxic dynamic I was currently in. And yes, that being seeped into my womb. And yes, especially this because this person was an addict as well. Now, I'm going to talk about this in another whole thing, because I actually believe that this person was a catalyst to truly claiming my power, my sovereignty, and my full energy as a woman. Like, it was one of the most intense initiations of my life. And I have been doing the work in my body to release, move, and alchemize this. A lot of my content on socials has been around alchemizing this in the body, because as a woman, this is what we're given at birth. This is how we are made. Now, what I find really interesting is people seem to think that gifted people are somewhere out there. But honey, the gifted person is you. The power and medicine is you. And I wish every woman knew that. What holds us from this is conditioning, somatic imprints. We're not going to go into all of that. We already know lots of that, right? But truly, We are energetic beings, and we can actually, once we unclog our system, our body, our auric field, it's so multi-layered. Our senses come online and we become highly attuned to energy. So highly attuned that we actually know when something's coming into our field and out of our field. Now, I have known that I was coming to Thailand specifically. It got dropped into my field many months ago. I did not do anything with that because I wanted the timing needed to be correct. Now, I don't tell everyone this because my foresight, my seeing what I know is coming to true and to fruition, and because I know a lot of people muddy up the waters, right? I do a lot of like seeing, and when people come and put their projections onto it and their story and narrative, they can muddy the waters and the channel becomes less clear, it becomes quite murky. So I only share this with my collect crew, my tribe, my close, intimate people, with the women that get it. Everyone external does not get access to that. So I knew Thailand was coming into the field. And I want to speak about this because this is pristine feminine channel and energetics. And this is actually having a close connection with God, our energy, and the earth, our womb. Like it's all a harmonious, delicious symphony that we're working with here. Now, and I'm not saying that I'm sitting out here like praying and meditating all the time. That's like my wild and feral aspects are on board for this, and all parts and pieces. And that's another myth that I would love to bust right here, right now. But this is our feminine energetics. Now, when we don't listen to this, I will say that, well, for me personally, the repercussions of not listening to my body, my intuition, my womb, God, divine source, my oracular knowing is it will kick me in the ass. I have spoken about this on quite a few episodes recently. One of those, I had a few internal nudges that I did not listen to in regards to going to be with this person. And I, in the physical, was very much mistreated, abused, and manipulated, and, mind game. It was some deep, deep psychological warfare. Let's just say that. Some dark entity type shit. And you know what? I think that that's getting really loud for us. I think as women walking this path, we cannot be naive to it anymore. Your oracular nature, your alchemical nature is true, is truth. That's like following the aliveness. It is truth. Whenever you don't listen to the internal tug of truth, things go lopsided. And yeah, you will still get to where you need to go. It'll just take you on a less cohesive path. And you will learn some big, intense lessons. For me personally, this is truth. Now, as a woman in devotion to truth, being out of alignment and not walking the path of truth, which is my internal wisdom, will definitely become a violent affair for me. And I'm noticing it's picking up more and more because we can't play silly and dumb and naive anymore. This time, and I talk about like Pluto in Scorpio women, which is a large piece of the collective currently, are next generation of women that are burning shit down and reigniting something. We are the mirror archetypes. We are the ones that reflect people's woundings. And it's not on purpose. It's who we are. We're seeing it collectively, and we're finding it harder to date and relate and be in relationships because there is a lot of lack of men who have been initiated to be able to hold that fire and that power and that emotion and that wisdom and mysticism. They are afraid of it and don't know how to relate to it. So they try and control it, soften it, or eradicate it. I love how I just come onto these podcasts and then just start dropping all of these wisdom. I showed up here today and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to fucking talk about. It's just going to land. I'm going to put it out there and it's going to land. It's going to be great. And this is delicious. This time in particular, what we are moving through collectively as women is a huge time, this eclipse portal, this season, what we're moving through, you can actually feel on the land, if you're really attuned to the land, how powerful it is. I started speaking about this 2 years ago when I started speaking about, good girl on fire. And I love how that prophecy has come to fruition and so many people are talking about the good girl now. I am moving into a next step in evolution of this. And I know a few women who currently are that I'm working with that I know that are in the field. One of them I feel a huge resonance with, and I'm going to reach out to her after this podcast. Natalie, there is this element of reclamation for womb women and oracular mystics that is coming through so strong, right? So you've gone through the bad girl conditioning or the good girl conditioning. You're reclaiming your villain. You're setting boundaries. Like, what is the next step of this? And I believe we're coming into service in a huge way. And that is the next evolution and what I'm moving through currently that I am going to prophesize right here, right now. And that is the next evolution of my work also. So I'm currently in a pause portal in the jungle on the land. I am burning everything down. It's the alchemical way. Pluto Scorpio woman, say what you wish. This is a woman of fire, a woman of womb, a woman who is in touch with her cyclical nature. And I am dissolving it all and currently moving through a new space of offerings where I'm deeply devotional to earth, eros, land, mysticism, and oracular nature. And this is going to be my life's work, my embodiment of work. And what I want to say here right now is I know so many women that are currently sitting right on the precipice of fully birthing their full gifts out into the world, right? We've done all the healing. We've done all of the dissecting. We've done the excavating, the healing, the, embodiment, the sexuality, sensuality. What comes next? We have midwifed ourselves through the birthing canal of this new era in time where women step into their power and reclaim it, where the mystics, the priestesses, the lineages that were long forgotten are stepping up out of the shadows and into a more prominent, I would say like a prominent role and a prominent energetic seat of reclamation is being held there for us women currently. And I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. I can feel it. It's yum. I'm going to leave that here for today. I really hope that if you're sitting there and you can feel there's so many energetic sensations moving through the body currently, feelings of being lost, feelings of not knowing who you are, knowing you're here for a big mission, but not knowing what it is currently. There is conflict happening around you, but you're kind of in the cyclone and the storm, and there's chaos, but it's okay because you're a chaos witch. You've been doing this for a while, right? Like you're actually like, oof. And I just want to let you know that if you're there and these sensations of conflict and projections and wounds and stuff, like you're seeing them so clearly now, and you're sitting here thinking, now what? It's okay to take a pause and sit in this delicious like birthing portal for a moment, collecting all your energy before pouring it out. Because when the time is right and when you will move and you will move with conviction, and then this is the new era of women in their bodies, in their power, in their roles that they have been pushed out of for so long. But yeah, it is a little bit staticky in the body. Be on the land. Look after yourself, tend to yourself, nourish yourself. We're in big, big times and we're in a big new era, and everything is being reflected back to you via relationships and breakdowns and starting to see. Just take hold of it. Just know. And this is what I see a lot of people get stuck on is they see things and then they constantly feel like they have to do something. And I know me and Hannah have been speaking about, well, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to move with it? How are you going to forward action it? Yes, this is true. but you actually have to grasp things before you can actually move forward with it and embody it into your system and metabolize it. So it's okay to take stock of everything, hold it, and then when the timing is right, you'll know what to do with this, how to move, how to show up. And yeah, I'm just like really here riding this journey with you. I loved this little episode. I have some incredible guests coming on in the coming weeks. I will keep up to date with these snippets, but that is all for now. Please let me know. Reach out to me, DM me. I love hearing your comments. Don't forget to rate, share, like this episode, subscribe if you wish, share it with a woman who needs to hear, who is on this path and who can feel that there's just some energetics there that cannot be quite named just yet, because those are the women that I want to speak to. That's my community. That's my women who I am calling forward, because I know we're going to be doing big things in the world in the next 10 years. I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Happy eclipse portal. Have this beautiful, delicious frangipani on me. I've just been smelling it. So decadent and delicious and sensual. Happy eclipse portal. I cannot wait to connect with you, and I will see you next week for another episode of Alchemy. Stay feral and free, my babes. Oh, before I go, look at this beautiful shirt my sister made me. Oh, it's from back to front, but it literally says Alchemistress, and I think that's so beautiful. Anyway, see you next time. Bye.